We're driving a 2023 Chevrolet Colorado. Coming up, we're going to dive into a Colorado controversy of epic proportions. But first, information explosion. The Chevy Colorado is a mid-size pickup truck that's all new for 2023. Let's begin with interior.
The interior is sportier than I expect for a truck.
The vents are a little reminiscent of Camaro.
Red stitching and the red accents. What I really like about this interior is the functionality. There's room for a large cup here or in the door. This nice door slot where you can hold a phone. And there is the primest example of a sauce pocket I've ever seen.
It looks like a sweet and sour zone if I ever saw one. Sauce pocket. This is one of those trucks where I got in and I just immediately knew how everything worked. I also like the fact that they have a dedicated button for putting all the windows down. Not to be crass, but let's say you make an unpleasant odor and you really need to vent it out. One button. I like to imagine there's one flatulent engineer at a GM who's like, look guys, we need to use this space for that. Yeah, and it doesn't close the windows, by the way. It only opens them, letting you know that down is the primary concern. Kiddo, should we call that the fart switch?
How about the fart escape?
The fart escape?
Yeah.
I think Ford's probably got the copyright on that one. By the way, sometimes we talk about shiny black plastic collecting fingerprints and dust, and we do indeed have some of that there. It looks decorative. This isn't a huge touchstone, but you know, these shiny black plastic buttons sure are. Nonetheless, I find this all quite easy to use. I'll quickly add that the overall textural quality to me feels better than some of the other GM vehicles I've driven previously. Now, talking about space, this is a mid-size pickup truck, and if I sit in the back behind my preferred front seat position, knee room is pretty narrow. Now, it looks like headroom would be tight, but it's actually sculpted out so that I do have more than adequate headspace. And even in the middle position, I was sort of surprised. I fit pretty well there. If I had one request, I wish the seat back angle was a little more reclined, but you know, you got mid-size proportions, you put the seat where you have to. The rear seat bottom comes in a standard 60-40 split, and if you flip it up, there's a little bit of underseat storage there. Moving further rearward, the bed is an incredibly functional space. Item one is the corner bed steps, which make it very easy to climb in and out of the vehicle.
I like that it's just integrated, always available, instead of something you have to release to use, like in so many other trucks.
Ours has a gentle descending tailgate. It makes it easier to lift up and let down. It's got a torsion bar in there. That is an optional feature. Speaking of the tailgate, it also has integrated cup holders, which makes you think you'd be driving while you're using it, but you shouldn't. You can also use it to measure things if you're a productive type. I'm not, but you might be. And then it has a middle position where you can use the cables that hold it up. Let's say you've got like long pieces of wood and you want something to hold it in place, minimizing the likelihood it's going to slide out the back. You can do that, and it can support up to 500 pounds. The tailgate has another trick feature, stove flex. So they've used that space in the tailgate on the inside to give you a little extra storage. So it's like a watertight storage area. It's fairly thin, but you could definitely store some stuff in there.
Xylophone.
Yes, put your xylophone in your tailgate, which sounds like a very gentle threat. Hey, yo, yeah, put your xylophone in your tailgate. Oh! Rounding out bed functionality, there are a ton of standard tie downs. You can add optional ones, other various little grooves where you can create various bed layers if you want to get some 2x4s and really build out the bed. Now, kiddo, you were able to get in and out of the bed. What about climbing in and out of your back seat there in the Colorado?
We should tell the people who made this to put a sweetie step.
I hope you're listening, Jim. You should use our copyrighted phrase, the sweetie step, and add it to the Chevy Colorado. So, kiddo, you wish it had a step to make getting in and out a little bit easier?
A sweetie step.
Yeah, you get that? Let's keep it branded, everybody. So a little bit difficult to get in if you're a little person and you don't have an optional step. Speaking of, sweetie, how did you find getting in and out of the Colorado?
I thought it was fine when I was in the passenger seat, but when I was driving it off-road, I wish there was another handle like this to help when you're at a bit of an angle and it's difficult to get back in.
Part of mountain living is that everywhere you park is sort of at an angle. So yeah, I can see it being difficult if you're shorter trying to get in on this side if you don't have a step and you don't have the handle there. What about booster seat install? Any issues?
Installing the booster seat was simple. The latch points are just exposed. The door opening is adequate. No problems.
As for safety, neither the NHTSA nor IIHS have rated the new Chevy Colorado as of when we made this video, but there is a standard suite of active driver assist, including lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and bicyclist detection. Plus, they also include standard teen driver, which is a feature that gives a report card on how your teen has been driving, and it also can automatically activate certain safety features and lock out certain functions to keep them as safe as possible while driving. Child, would you like a report card to come to me and mommy when you begin driving?
Yay!
I can't believe she fell for it.
I fell for it.
Family, what do we think? Is the Chevy Colorado family friendly?
Family friendly.
Family friendly.
Small family friendly. Rear window test.
Hi.
Hello. Bye. As always with pickup trucks, not that rear window, the other one. All the way down. Boop. Armrest test. Driving in a comfortable 8 and 4, I really like the position of these armrests. They're even, there's a really wide perch both inboard and outboard, and I can easily access them with my hands on the steering wheel. I will say that the material is pretty abrasive, and I think it could be maybe a little bit softer, especially on the outboard here. I'm gonna go 70% inboard and 60% outboard. Hey! Would you like to see more videos like this where we review cars as a family, plus the occasional helicopter adventure? If so, you are welcome to subscribe. Style! Real quick, let me thank the sponsor for today's video, Flying Eye Sunglasses. You always hear me talk about function because they are made out of material called Resilimide that no other sunglass manufacturer can use because they have a patent. It allows it to be bendy and extremely lightweight, but today I'm just talking about aesthetics. Mirrored emerald lenses. These are brand new. I really love the look of them in my Kestrels, but sweetie, hand me those white Ospreys. White Ospreys plus the mirrored emerald lenses. Oh, look at that classic good look. If you're ready for aviation grade eyewear in a variety of styles, click the link in the description below, use the promo code Micah, and you can save 10% on Flying Eyes. The Chevy Colorado, there used to be a few different versions you can get. Now it is a single body style, a crew cab with a 5'2" bed. That's it.
It is pretty stylish for a pickup truck. There are a lot of body lines. There's that deeply sculpted hood. The fenders really bump out. I think in this color, it looks very sporty and stylish. But I wonder if you got it in another more traditional color, if it would still appeal to the more traditional truck buyer.
Chevrolet's never been afraid to throw a bucket of style at a truck, and in this case, there's a lot happening, but I think it comes together nicely. You mentioned the color. This is nitro yellow metallic, and what I love about it, besides it being kind of outrageous, is that it's only $395. I really love when manufacturers offer interesting colors, and I like it when they make them affordable. Overall, we like the look of the Chevy Colorado, but what do you think? Do you like the Colorado? If so, if no, tell us in the comment section. In motion! The first thing to jump out to me driving the Chevy Colorado is that at freeway speeds, it's pretty quiet. The second thing to jump out to me is that ride quality, especially on my freeway commute, which is very chattery, was pretty bumpy. It's firm and bouncy. I had one big bump where it kind of like flung me up out of my seat. I've noticed that same firm suspension tuning when we did a little bit of light off-roading, and it kind of tosses you around a little bit. So I wouldn't mind a more plush ride, but what I really like is the engine. I'm just gonna floor it off the line. Count me down, kiddo.
3, 2, 1.
Floored. Whee! So there's a little, just a little light chirp from the tires there. This is the same 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that is in the Silverado, and it's available in 3 different power levels. This is the middle power level. They call it the Turbo Plus, and I was kind of like, wow, this thing's quick. For me, the powertrain is a big highlight of the Colorado driving experience. The automatic transmission, which is an 8-speed that comes standard on all Colorados, works very well. I'm gonna floor it now. No delay there. We immediately get up to speed. A lot of power delivered in refined fashion. I think the engine is a winner. During my freeway commute, I noticed maybe a little steering looseness on center, maybe a few more corrections than I'd want, but overall pretty good. And as far as turning around corners, the Colorado steers just fine for a pickup truck. Okay, here's a big divot. Let's see what happens. Kind of firm. Go, little, no, leave the roadway, Chipmunk, leave the roadway. There we go. Yeah, we would have felt that, Chipmunk, had we hit it. We did not. We're driving the Z71 trim. It has a limited slip rear differential, which comes in handy when driving off-road. I like that they offer up to 5 drive modes, including a Baja mode and a terrain mode, off-road mode, so you can customize vehicle drive behavior depending on what you're doing. For light to moderate off-roading, like around our community, this would be great. Oh, and this season in particular, we've had a lot of growth that impedes on the width of the trails. Having a mid-size pickup truck versus like a full-size pickup truck for the trails in our area would be a real advantage. All right, that's what I think. But what does Sweetie think? Evie's at the wheel. We're pulling out. Floor it.
Oh, God.
That was a good time to floor it. Did you have enough power to get up to speed there?
I did. I got up to speed quickly.
That was a perfect example of the kind of driving we have here, where it's a curve and somebody's coming around and then they're angry that you're pulling out. But you have to pull out at some point.
Yeah, I really saw no one when I was pulling out.
That's definitely not your fault. That's them driving very quickly and then being angry that like somebody dare pull.
Hitting the horn instead of the brake.
Yep. How do you find just driving this thing, both by size and disposition?
I had an easier time driving this around than I thought I would. The dimensions are pretty easily apparent.
So you know where the edges are?
Yeah.
Any issue with steering efforts, or does that feel good?
No issue with steering efforts. It's lighter than I would have expected.
Oh, and then last quick question, any issues with visibility?
Even though the pillars are pretty thick, I still feel like I can see reasonably well all around. I do wonder on a particularly steep hill if that high hood line would give me some trouble.
Yeah, there were a couple of occasions where I thought, front camera might be nice, but overall, you feeling pretty comfortable driving the thing?
I am.
Right on, Sweetie's feeling comfortable. I'm getting back in the driver's seat. Overall, I think the Chevy Colorado has a well-rounded driving manner. Maybe it is a little firm, but I think it's ready for work or play, which it sounds like I'm describing a kicky ensemble for summer. Moving onward to emotion factor. When I ended the last segment talking about the Colorado's ability to do work and play, I think that's something we talk about frequently with pickup trucks, which is that there's a lot of potential. It's like, oh, here's all the things you could do with this if you wanted to. Is there some other emotion that I haven't identified yet?
That is the one that jumped out to me, and I was pissed that you used it in the last segment.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
I'll add to that I think there is some emotion specifically here in the Colorado in terms of aesthetic. There's this kind of unified sportiness both in and out. Rugged truck, that's fine. Work truck, that's fine. But sports truck, there's something fun about that. What do you guys think? Is there an emotion factor here? If you're feeling emotionally drawn to buy a Chevy Colorado of your very own, you might need to sell your current car first. Click the Kelley Blue Book pricing link in the description below to find out what your current car is worth and what you should pay for your Chevy Colorado. Onward to remarks! Remark number 1, infotainment. Every single Colorado trim gets this 11.3-inch screen. I love that a big screen has been democratized and everybody gets it. I've always had this suspicion that having a bunch of like, oh, we're gonna give like a tiny little screen here and then a bigger screen here. I've always suspected that maybe, just maybe, it would be cheaper for a manufacturer to have a single build than it would be to have a bunch of different builds and then to try and nickel and dime people to move up to higher trims. I'm not sure if that's true, but I love that this is here for everyone.
The layout of the infotainment with these icons on the side so that you can find the specific functions you would use most often, that works well, like the map and the music. I easily found my way to all those things. But when you get into some of the deeper functionality, like the off-road pages, I had a little bit of trouble finding my way through it first, but I think one would get used to it.
Yeah, and it's certainly not the most perplexing infotainment system we've experienced in the last, let's say, month or two. By the way, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless comes standard. Oh, and another thing I like is that if I want to control the volume or go forward or back on tracks, we've got these little rocker switches, and I really love the tactile quality of not having to remove my hand from the steering wheel. You know what it is? Our old 2002 Mini Cooper had those, and I really like those, so here we have them too. Now, in the beginning of the video, we teased we were going to dive into a Colorado controversy of epic proportions. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Kiddo, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, she's ready. Sure. Yeah, why not?
I'm ready.
Okay, when the Colorado first appeared, there was a fair bit of controversy about the lighting switch. There's no light switch over here. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? As it turns out, it's just right over here and you push it right on the screen and it's not a big deal. So there's the controversy. And it's doubly interesting because the lights are automatic. If I was GM, I would have done the exact same thing. It's like you got rid of a switch, so that's a little cost you get to save. Makes the truck a little more affordable. Build it right in here, and it's easy to find on the rare occasion you need to use it, which you probably never will. That's the side of the controversy I land on. Now, in the comment section, please tell me why I'm wrong. Am I trolling for engagement? You betcha. Okay, now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the Muzio family smell test. Our daughter doesn't like new car smell, and we know some people agree with her. Kiddo, how do you feel about the smell of the Chevy Colorado? Is it good, bad, or just okay?
Thumbs down.
It's bad? Okay, that's the child's judgment, and that was the Muzio family smell test. All right, let's talk engine choices. The only engine is a 2.7 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, but it comes in 3 different versions. There are the figures for the base engine. If you want the more powerful Turbo Plus, it comes standard on higher trims, but you can add it to the lower trims for about $1,300 to $1,400. If you'd like to add 4-wheel drive to the WT or LT trims, that'll cost $3,300. 4-wheel drive comes standard on higher trims. For tow, it maxes out at 3,500 pounds with the base engine and 7,700 pounds with the Turbo Plus. Sweetie,
Yeah,
can I give you a trim recommendation?
you sure can.
Our trim recommendation is which Chevy Colorado trim will give you the features you would regret not getting, but at the lowest possible price. For our trim recommendation, we're going to suggest you skip the basic work truck and go up one trim to the LT. It adds $2,400 to the price tag, but it also adds a range of upgrades, including aluminum wheels, body-colored door handles and mirrors, a remote locking tailgate, rear air vents, and smart key access, a feature I won't live without. I'd also suggest maybe spending an extra $945 for the advanced trailering package. It's a reasonable sum for a limited slip rear differential, a 2-inch receiver, 4 and 7-pin trailer connectors, and an integrated brake controller. The Colorado is a truck, and eventually you might want to tow with it. If you have plans to go off-roading in a serious way, the ZR2 trim adds driver-controlled front and rear locking differentials, multi-matic dampers, plus a torque bump to 430 pound-feet. As for competitors, we've got the Ford Ranger, which is new for 2024, the Toyota Tacoma, which is also new for 2024, and let's just toss in the Honda Ridgeline as well. And if you're curious what we thought of the Honda Ridgeline, you can click up here. Did we miss any remarks? If so, tell us in the comments section. Synopsis! In thinking about the essence of the all-new 2023 Chevy Colorado, it is tough, it is clever, and it has a renewed focus on excellence. To me, it is every troubled student in an 80s movie of mid-size pickup trucks. I'm sure you've seen those movies. Family, I think we've done a good job reviewing the Chevy Colorado. May have a 5 and a 5, and you can get your high five. Bam!